Hey, I get it when you're about to drop a serious amount of cash on a microphone you've only heard about in studio demos, the nerves start kicking in. You're wondering if the legendary name on the box actually translates to something you'll hear in your own recordings, or if you'll end up with an expensive paperweight. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through why the Neumann U47 FET Collector's Edition might be the sweet spot for some creators and a hard pass for others, so you can decide before the price tag hits your wallet. First off, the U47 lineage is a piece of audio folklore. Decades ago, engineers chased that warm, full-bodied vocal tone, and the original tube-driven units became studio staples. The modern FET version tries to capture that character while swapping the fragile tube for a solid-state front end. That's a big deal because it means you get the vintage vibe without having to keep a high-voltage power supply humming in your home studio. If you've ever tried to record vocals or acoustic instruments with a budget condenser and found the sound a little thin, you'll notice the difference right away. The low-cut filter at 140 Hz helps tame rumble without sacrificing the natural weight of a singer's chest voice. So, who actually benefits from this piece of gear? If you're a professional vocalist, a podcaster who wants that broadcast-level presence, or an indie producer who plans to record stringed instruments in a treated room, the U47 FET can be a genuine upgrade. Its cardioid pattern focuses on the source, rejecting side and rear noise perfect when you're in a less-than-perfect acoustic environment, like a bedroom that still has the occasional creak from the hallway door. The wooden Collector's Edition box isn't just a fancy packaging trick, it's a sturdy, climate-adjustable case that protects the mic during transport, which is handy if you gig or move between studios. On the flip side, if you're just starting out, recording demos in a dorm, or you only need a mic for occasional voiceovers, the U47 FET might feel like overkill. The price point sits well above entry-level condensers, and you'll need a decent preamp or an audio interface with a clean 48V phantom supply to get the most out of it. Some users have reported that the mix output level is a touch lower than modern large-diaphragm condensers, meaning you'll have to turn up the gain on your interface, which can introduce a bit of hiss if your gear isn't up to snuff. In short, if your signal chain isn't already solid, you might not experience the full benefit of the microphone's design. Let's talk about daily usability. I set the U47 FET on a standard boom stand, plugged it into a Focusrite Scarlett 18i20, and recorded a vocal take for a folk song. The first thing I noticed was the quick pop when I sang a high A note. The mic handled the peak without any distortion, which is a hallmark of that classic Neumann smoothness. When I switched to an acoustic guitar, the low-cut filter helped keep the floorboard rumble out of the mix, allowing the body resonance to sit nicely without muddying the low end. The cardioid pattern also meant that when my cat brushed past the stand, the mic barely picked up the scratch, keeping the take clean. Now, about the hidden trade-offs. The Collector's Edition includes a certificate of authenticity and a high-quality wooden box, but it does not come with a shock mount or pop filter. That's fine if you already own those accessories, but if you're building a kit from scratch, you'll need to budget extra. The mix body is all metal with a brushed finish, which looks premium, but it can get a bit warm after long sessions in a small room. I've found that a simple off-axis placement pointing the mic slightly away from the speaker's mouth keeps the temperature down without altering the tonal character. Also, the low-cut filter is fixed at 140 Hz. You can't dial it down lower, which some engineers wish for when recording ultra-deep bass instruments. That limitation isn't a deal-breaker for most vocal work, but it's worth noting if you plan to capture a double bass or kick drum in the same setup. When you weigh the value, the U47 FET's price is largely justified by the Neumann brand heritage and the way it translates classic tonal warmth into a modern, reliable platform. You're not just buying a microphone, you're buying a piece of studio history that has been refined for today's digital workflow. For someone who already has a decent audio interface, a good set of monitors, and a treated recording space, the upgrade can be heard in the added thickness and naturalness of the sound. For a beginner, the same upgrade might be less perceptible, especially if the room acoustics are still a mess. One practical strength that's easy to overlook is the microphone's ability to stay consistent across multiple sessions. I recorded the same vocal performance 3 days apart, and the tonal character stayed.